At the old railway station, amidst the hustle and bustle of passengers, the clatter of wheels, and the blaring train whistles, one sight remained unchanged. At the edge of the platform, motionless like a statue, sat a dog. Black, lean, with intelligent yet sorrowful eyes, he paid no attention to passers-by, noise or weather. Rain, snow, or scorching sun, he was always there, as if waiting for something important. The station workers had grown accustomed to his presence. Some fed him, some patted him sympathetically, while others simply walked by. But everyone knew he was waiting. He didn't chase trains, nor did he seek new owners. He just sat and gazed into the distance. One day, a journalist named Andrei arrived at the station. He was traveling across the country, gathering touching stories for his blog. Hearing from a train conductor about a dog that had not left the station for years, he became intrigued. "What is he doing here?" Andrei asked an elderly woman selling coffee, her face kind and warm. "They say he's waiting for his owner," she sighed. "There was a man. He used to come here every week, always with his dog. And then one day, he came back alone. The dog stayed behind. They say the owner passed away, but he still waits." A pang of emotion tightened Andrei's chest. He looked at the dog, who had just risen and was attentively watching the approaching train. When the doors opened, several people stepped out, but the dog remained still. He only tilted his head slightly, as if hoping to see a familiar silhouette, then sank back down onto the ground. Andrei decided to dig deeper. He spoke to locals, train conductors, and even visited archives to uncover the truth. The story turned out to be even more tragic than he had imagined. 5 years ago, a man named Victor indeed traveled through this station every week. He was a doctor working in a nearby city but lived here in his hometown. The dog, named Chernish, had been a stray puppy when Victor found him and raised him. They were inseparable. One day, Victor was in a car accident and passed away in the hospital, but the dog never knew. He only saw his owner leave and never return. Since then, every morning, Chernish came to the station and waited. Andrei filmed a video about him. The story quickly spread across the internet. People flooded the comments, offering to take the dog in. But no matter how many kind hands were extended toward Chernish, he recognized no one. He waited and continued to sit by the platform. But one day, something unusual happened. A train arrived, and for the first time in years, Chernish reacted differently. He jumped up, his eyes gleaming, and suddenly bolted forward. Andrei froze, hardly believing what he saw. Chernish, who had remained motionless for years, dashed toward the train, weaving skillfully through the crowd. From the doors emerged a young man with a troubled expression. In his hands, he held a suitcase, and an old, worn-out jacket hung over his shoulder. The dog stopped for a moment, then whimpered softly and rushed to him. The young man knelt, and in the next moment, Chernish was lying at his feet, nuzzling his hands. "I didn't believe it, but he's really here," the young man whispered, stroking the dog. It turned out to be Victor's son, Artem. When his father died, he had left for another city to study and had not returned for a long time. He knew that the dog had stayed at the station, but couldn't believe he had waited all these years. Andrei's video touched him deeply, and he decided to come back. Chernish didn't leave Artem's side for a second. For the first time in years, his eyes shone not with sorrow but with joy. Passengers watched the scene with curiosity, while station workers couldn't hold back their smiles. "Let's go home, buddy," Artem said, rising to his feet. Chernish whimpered happily, wagging his tail, and so ended one of the most touching stories of this station. And the shadow by the platform disappeared, along with the faithful friend who had finally been reunited with his person.